What's up, everyone, and welcome to Sidetracked Episode 2. I am Ben, and Lincoln is here with me. We have a lot planned for today. Lincoln?
And we are actually going to stay on topic this time.
Probably not. That's the whole point. Today we are talking about severe weather, storm chasing, aviation, business travel, baseball, college football, and the NFL. Later, we're putting everyone to the test that wants to with some sidetrack trivia. We got some awesome guests coming on throughout the show. Noah's joining us for Chaser Convergence, where we're getting into storm chasing and the severe weather. Then Cruise Haynes is joining us to talk weather, severe weather coverage, and what he's been working on. And later, Eric Goldmann will join us, and we're talking about what it's actually like traveling for business, his aviation experience and airport opinions, and then we're dragging him over to the sports desk. Snoopy might be joining us for that. And we might have someone else joining us at another point.
So basically, we have no idea where this is going.
Exactly. If you watch live, get involved in chat and send us your questions, hot takes, because we might bring some of that on to the show. All right, Lincoln, I think it's time.
Let's do it.
Welcome to Sidetracked, and let's start with Chaser Convergence. Let's get Noah in here. Hello, what is up?
Hello.
Introduce yourself for people who don't know who you are, and how did you get into storm chasing?
Hello. My name is Noah Miller. I've been a storm chaser for about a little over 8 years now. And what got me into storm chase, I've always been into weather since I was a kid. If anybody asks me how long I've been into weather, I have a picture from a Halloween costume contest when I was in like fourth or fifth grade, and I dressed up as a tornado, and I just show them that. I'm like, does that answer your question? But always been a passion of mine. I'm based out of Ohio, and I go pretty much all around the country.
You are the second chaser in 2 weeks that we've had from Ohio.
Really? Who's the other one?
His name is Cam.
Cam. I
He
don't know any
he
chasers around.
started chasing like last week.
Oh, that would be why I probably haven't heard of him.
Yeah, but when you wake up on a chase day, what's the first thing you think of?
Basically, first thing I think of, well,
Or
first thing I think of is how long. Well, first thing I think, my girlfriend's always going to ask me, well, what time are you going to be back? And I'm always thinking, well, what time am I going to be back? And I never know the answer to that question. It's probably going to be an all nighter kind of thing. That's usually what I tell her. I'm like, I never know. But the first thing I always um, do on a chase day is call my chase partner, because I'm lucky enough to have a chase partner, and he mainly does all the driving. And basically, I call him, and we basically just what's the word I'm looking for? Get on the same page about our target area and whatnot.
when was the last time you went chasing?
Uh, Last week? Yeah, last week. Yeah, I was covering the historical flooding down in southeastern Indiana, over in Muncie, Cambridge City, all that. Absolutely historic flooding, and unfortunately, I believe there might have been more, but I know there was at least three fatalities reported with it. So yeah, very very sad to hear. But that was the last chase that I went on down there, was for the flooding.
Yeah, that is crazy. What?
Yeah,
What?
it was at. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
You can go.
Oh yeah, it was definitely absolutely historic. They were doing helicopter rescues, boat rescues. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it, and I'm pretty sure uh, this is actually in Ohio. There's a portion of I-70 that's completely like closed down because of floodwaters.
Yeah. So next question: what makes you decide a setup is actually worth chasing?
Um, well, believe it or not, um, how many other chasers are out there goes into play because I try to avoid the chaser convergence as much as I can. But if there's like a big day where everything's looking like it's gonna fall into play, then but obviously I know there's gonna be a lot of chasers out there. I still go out there, but uh say there's a slight risk or something like that. And with a 2 or maybe a 2% tornado risk, maybe even a 5% tornado risk. The 5% will give me more of an incentive to go out, but um if I know there's a lot of chasers that are going to be out and whatnot, I try to avoid it completely because it's just not worth the stress and whatnot. But I do go out if it's around here in my hometown. I go out pretty much every single time, no matter what.
Yeah. Uh, uh, is there a way you decide your initial targets before the storms develop?
Yeah. I look at I use a website. I'm sure a lot of other chasers use this pivotal weather. We look at soundings, photographs, whatnot, everything. See if there's capping inversion in place for the day. Look at the dew points. Look and see how much cape is in the atmosphere. And I'm guarantee you, everybody knows what CAPE is, convective available potential energy. Everybody knows what that is. But yeah, we look at all the models and basically just nail down. Going with your gut at the end of the day is the biggest part of it. You can't do what everybody else is doing. You got to go with your gut. And so that's why um, whenever I'll get text messages or people in my chat saying, "Oh, so and so chasers going here, or you're nearby so and so," and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care what they're doing. I'm going. I'm doing my own thing. So yeah, that's the biggest. That's the biggest thing with storm chasing is going with your gut.
Yeah, that's sometimes hard.
Yeah, very. It can be hard too because you'll be going with your gut, and everybody else could be going in another direction. And for example, going with my gut, I believe 3 weeks ago, we were the only chasers in Western Indiana, and all the other chasers went southwest of Chicago. And we were the only chasers over far east enough into Indiana, and we were the only people on this tornado warning. And that's an example of when going with your gut works out. And all the people out west towards Chicago, they saw absolutely nothing.
Was
So
that
yeah, that's an example. Go
the
ahead. Sorry.
moderate risk day?
No, this was more this was recently. I believe I think it was an enhanced risk. I think. That was the Duray show. Actually, no, that wasn't it was right before the Duray show, I believe.
Uh, um, what's your dream chase like setup?
Dream chase setup.
Yeah. Like
Um
uh
Hive
go.
oh sorry, yeah, about to say I've been live streaming for 3 years and I've been working a lot to get everything to where I want it. And believe it and I guarantee you down the road, there's going to be something like, oh, I want that. Oh, I want that. There's always something new that comes along and you're like, oh, I want that. But honestly, with how hard I've worked and with getting the string, like the Starlink, the signal booster, everything that combines all the cell networks and the Starlink, everything. Like, I think we fully have gotten our chase vehicle to exactly how we want it to be. The only thing I would change, which we are changing, we are getting a new chase vehicle. We only have front wheel drive right now, but we are getting a retired police cruiser with only 30,000 miles on it, and it's all wheel drive. So once we get that, yeah, I'd say we're perfect.
Do you,
I wouldn't say perfect. Nobody's ever perfect, but as far I say we're yeah, yeah, good as yeah, as good as we can be.
is I know you said you chase in Ohio a lot. Do you ever chase elsewhere?
Oh yeah. Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. There was a weekend. Um, I got off work on a Saturday at 5 p.m. I drove all the way to Nebraska, chased on a Sunday, and then drove all the way back here to Ohio and got back at 10 a.m. on a Monday and then went into work at 3 p.m. on a Monday. So yeah, I go everywhere.
I could never.
Yeah, it's definitely not for everybody, and definitely my family and my girlfriend, they're like, be careful, be careful," because especially their minds are constantly in a state of anxiety when I do long drives like that because I was making a drive. I drove from Ohio all the way to Arkansas, then down to Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. And on my way up back home, I fell asleep at the wheel and I crashed in Kentucky and completely totaled my car. I had a RAV4 and yeah, it was completely totaled. I was fine, and thankfully nobody else was involved. And yeah, I was fine, but yeah, that incident that happened about 2 years ago. Yeah, that definitely had everybody's minds at constant anxiety whenever I'm out there driving, and that's also why I got a chase partner and a driver so that way we can further prevent that incident from happening again. Because if somebody else was involved in that, I would have never forgiven myself.
Yeah. Um, I I feel like I heard that. I don't know.
Heard
Like
heard
that's
that story.
not like the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, yeah. It's I mean, accidents happen. I mean, Brandon Kopic, he's also a chaser from Ohio, and it was years ago. He was driving on the highway, and there was a car in the left lane that was completely stopped, and he was going pretty fast, especially for the conditions. And uh, he hit it going at least 60, 70 miles an hour, and yeah, completely totaled his car. But yeah, accidents happen, and that's just that yeah, stuff happens, and all you can do is take actions to try to prevent it from happening in the future, because that's how you learn is from your mistakes.
Um, what's your favorite radar product to look at while chasing?
So I mainly use Radar Omega. Not sponsored or anything. But yeah, I mainly use Radar Omega. I do use Radar Scope here and there. Um, as far as models and soundings, obviously I said Pivotal Weather, but on my phone, I use Weatherfront for that. Um, and then cameras and whatnot, if I want to peek at a camera or something like that, I use Weatherwise. So I use literally a combination of all of them. I guess the only one I don't use is the Apple Weather, the default one.
Yeah, I I've been using Weatherfront for everything, and
And
then
you guys can include this in the podcast if you want. I don't care. Um, but yeah, I'm here. I've been offered from Max Velocity and Ryan Hall, y'all. I've gotten offers from both of them here recently, so I'm potentially going to be partnering with one of the two. I haven't decided yet.
that's cool.
So yeah, yeah, that was a new recent development. Yeah, it was definitely mind-boggling. It was actually when I was out covering the floods and Ryan popped into my stream, and let me tell you, that was a jaw drop and a half.
Is there anywhere that we could like watch you chase?
Yeah, on YouTube, Storm Chaser Noah Miller on YouTube. I live stream on there. And we're working on being able to multi-stream to like TikTok, Facebook, all that. You can just find me there at Storm Chaser Noah Miller on everything. Um, but yeah, we go live as much as we can, and we are we actually, yeah, we're constantly working on our streaming setup. We got to get it implemented and all the cords hooked up. But instead of just one singular camera, we just hooked up a multi-camera system, which includes a roof camera, and CJ Ziegler is the one who built this camera, and you're able to control the camera from inside the car and be able to. It's like it's a PTZ camera. You're able to tilt it 360 degrees. So even if we're driving parallel or like away from the storm, you guys are still able to see it and whatnot.
Does it make it easier for like us to see it if you're driving away from it?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So that way I'm not like having to hold the phone outside the car or anything. Like that also helps us too. So that way I can just point the camera in the direction I want it and you guys can see it. Yeah, and I'm able to see the stream on. I have a computer monitor inside the car. It's actually we jerry rigged it. We bolted it into the cup holder in the back seat. We have a computer monitor, and it's actually showing us what you guys are seeing on the stream. So that way I can still make sure the camera's aimed in a good direction.
Yeah. I know a couple chasers that have that.
Yeah, there was another camera we were looking at, but this one costs like $5,000. And I asked Corey Gherkin about it, and I was like, "Yeah, I was thinking about getting it." And he says, "Don't." He just shook his head and said, "Don't." And I'm like, "That's enough for me."
Yeah. I have a couple more questions. We have about 3 minutes.
All right.
These are going to be rapid fire questions. Plains or
Oh boy.
southeast for chasing?
One more time, sorry.
Plains or southeast for chasing?
Oh, planes, 100%.
HRRR RFS?
HRRR.
Cape or sheer?
Ooh, that's a good one. Cape, because if you have sheer, yeah, tornadoes are nice to get on camera, but tornadoes also cause destruction. So I guess if you don't have shear, you just have storms and no rotation. So I would just go Cape on that one.
Reflectivity or velocity?
Velocity.
Day chase or sunset chase?
Ooh. I could go sunset chase on that one.
Structure or tornado?
Tornado if it's in a non-populated area.
Solo chase or chase team?
Yeah, you already know the answer to that one. Chase team.
Forecasting or chasing?
uh, I would have to say chasing. Forecasting's definitely the harder part of it. I mean, they're both hard, but yeah, I would have to say chasing.
Dream state to chase in?
Oklahoma.
Do you have any reasons?
Um, I mean, when you think Tornado Alley, when you think tornadoes, Oklahoma, and plus flat, wide open, and plus I've never been out there. I've been to Kansas, Nebraska. Um, Actually, I've never been to any of the Dakotas. I've been Wisconsin, Illinois, Arkansas, Louisiana. I've been to Dixie Alley, you name it. But yeah, Oklahoma, the pinnacle of tornadoes. I've yet to be out there. So yeah, that's why.
All right. Lincoln, do you have any questions?
No, I do not.
All right. Thank you for joining us. And we got a lot more coming up. So
All right. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. You have a good rest of your day.
You too.
All right. Bye bye.
And now we got Cruise Haynes joining us. And let's get him in here. Yo. Got
Yo.
Cruise Haynes running on. What is up today?
Not much.
So do you have whoa.
Yo.
Cruise Haynes, what is up today? Yeah.
Not much.
I started 30 minutes ago. Yeah, I'm live. Sorry. Yeah, it says I'm live. All right. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Let's see here. My name is Cruise Haynes. I run the YouTube channel.
Yeah. We got a couple questions for you, and then we got rapid fire questions, and then you can tell us anything you want after that. So, what originally got you interested in severe weather? Yeah. What? Thank you. What made you decide to start covering weather on YouTube? Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of what I started to do too. Earlier this summer. What was your first severe weather stream like? Yeah, my first severe weather stream was the Kankakee tornado. So, uh, yeah, that was a while ago. What's been the hardest part of building your severe weather coverage? Yeah. When you see a potentially big severe weather day coming, how do you prepare? Um, what do you have like a threshold for when you go live?
Not doing YouTube full time as of right now. I have a job on the side to sort of help me pay for being able to do this on YouTube here. Hopefully, we'll be making money off of YouTube here pretty soon. But again, the main focus is to keep people from public safe. And yeah.
What do you want to do differently from other weather creators?
Not as much fear mongering. Like, I talked to James Spann not too long ago. It was in late January this year, and he was talking about how some weather YouTubers, not going to name any, like just like literally highlight the entire United States map for a very isolated severe weather threat that could be impacting like one state or something, like up in New Jersey, and they highlight all the way to Oregon, just to make people click on their stuff and get a whole bunch of views just because they want to make money off of YouTube. Which, yes, everybody wants to make money off of YouTube because it sort of helps them continue to do it. But there's some people out there in the weather community now that's making it so divided is because there's people out there that are doing weather stuff that don't have any clue what they're talking about just to make money off of it and scare other people.
Yeah, I have noticed that as well. Which one feature upgrade you really want to add to your streams?
Probably, not really sure about that. I haven't looked into that too much, but overall, just more clear visuals, not as crowded of a screen as I have had like previously with my overlays and stuff. But I hope to make everything less crowded and get more cameras out there so we can have more eyes on the skies.
Yeah. If your channel suddenly blew up tomorrow, what would you do differently?
Whatever I've done previously to make it blow up.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. Uh, where, where do you want your weather coverage to be 1 year from now?
I hope to have at least 10,000 subscribers. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but I think it's definitely a possibility and a lot better quality streams with a lot less lag and being able to honestly do YouTube full time.
Yeah. What's your favorite radar product?
Currently, it's WX Rundown. Before WX Rundown, it was Aguacero WX. It's got a whole bunch of models and radar products and a lot more to come to WX Rundown. And then Aguacero has a bunch of updates coming out here previously. And then I know they're continuing to grind here going into the future with a whole bunch of updates.
Yeah. I've checked both of those out, and I might try to use them. What's your favorite type of weather to cover?
I'm going to be honest, probably winter storms. Because they're not as impactful to people because, like Noah was talking about, like storm chasers like to see tornadoes, but it's not like going to impact people. It's not when you want to see it. It's like if it's out in a big open field. Like I don't like covering tornadoes and severe weather because I know I'm just sitting behind screens knowing that it's impacting people out there. And during winter storms, I can know that there's some people out there that are having fun in the snow, like sledding or anything like that. And yeah, it's still going to do some impacts with power and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. But I feel like it's more of a relaxed type of stream, and not as many people like freak out over it, like people do over tornadoes and severe thunderstorm warnings.
Um, would you have you ever storm chased?
A couple of times. I don't go out chasing by myself. Normally go out with my brother because he's more experienced than I am with storm chasing and stuff. But I don't storm chase. Like I don't drive far to storm chase. Like if it's local storms, then yes, I will. But I don't normally go out like a whole bunch of other chasers do, traveling hundreds of miles to go chase a few storms.
Yeah. I have never chased. I've never seen a tornado. Have you seen a tornado?
I have, but not when I was storm chasing. Um, I've seen some like I wouldn't consider it storm chasing. Like I was in a car. I wouldn't consider it a fully condensed tornado. It was more like sort of there was like a funnel cloud and then there was some circulation on the ground. But it was more like probably a land spout, I would say.
All right. We have 5 rapid fire questions. Tornado coverage or hurricane coverage?
Hurricane coverage.
Radar or forecast models?
Probably radar.
HRRR or RFS?
HRRR.
Solo coverage or team coverage?
Probably team coverage.
Forecasting or broadcasting?
Broadcasting.
All right, that is it for the rapid fire questions. If people watching Sidetracked haven't seen your channel before, what do you want them to know about Cruise Haynes and what you're building?
A non-fear mongering channel that is trying to get the word out to as many people as possible about severe weather over the next 7 to 10 days in advance, and trying to keep people weather aware like live during these severe weather events, going around the map looking at warnings, overall just trying to save lives.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Have a good day.
See ya. All right, Lincoln.
After he says have a good day, you're supposed to say you too.
I did.
Who is coming in next?
Mr. Eric. All right, I'm just getting this set up. And we will share screen.
Okay, sir.
Beanie Aviation.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. I posted the link in Discord. VC. The Discord we're talking in. I'll also share my screen so you can hear. All right. How are you today?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
All right. Just I don't have Discord or anything.
Yeah. I just connected you to Discord, and I know you can't hear Lincoln, but he can hear you.
Okay.
And you are
All
on my
right. So
stream.
excellent. Hey, Ben, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
That's good. I'm really excited to be on your show today. It's great. I'm a huge fan of Sidetracked.
Yeah. I bet you are.
Of course, you and Lincoln do great work.
Yeah.
So it's an honor to be part of the show.
Yeah. Do you want to tell people who you are?
Yeah, sure. My name is Eric. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and have three children, three boys, and I really am into sports and travel and just adventures and experiences.
Yeah. How often do you travel for work, and what does a normal business trip look for you?
Sure, Ben. Yeah. So I've been traveling for business for roughly about almost coming up on 25 years, just short of that. And, my travel has been mostly requires me to fly to different cities. I've been in sales. And so I, live in Atlanta. I go visit hospitals and work with customers there, and it's been a lot of fun. B- d- doing different business. There's different types of business travel. Like there's road warriors and there's different types of road warriors. One who would drive in their car to go visit their customers, and that was something that I definitely do not like to do. I'd rather fly and go somewhere and to maybe a new city and experience that stuff. But one of the best parts of business travel is getting to meet new people throughout my travels.
Who are your favorite people that you have met?
Well, I've met obviously my customers, but I've met some people over time. When you're sitting on an airplane and you have a seatmate next to you, it's a great opportunity if they're willing to talk. Some people on planes just put their headphones on and maybe take a nap, but other times there's some interesting people that you get to sit to are next to and hear their story and share some of yours. And there are some people that I've sat next to that I continue to be friends with today.
You should tell Marshall that.
Okay.
He's scared. He's scared to sit next to strangers.
Is he? All right. Well, I think Marshall's a young guy right now, and I think over time maybe he'll change that too.
Yeah. After so much traveling, what's your favorite airport and why? Can't be
My
Atlanta.
favorite airport? No, I think Atlanta is probably one of the best airports in the country. A lot of people disagree, but I think it's just a fantastic airport, easy connections, and people just get, freaked out with, the size and all of that. But I think one of my favorite airports domestically would probably have to be. Um, Jeez, it's hard to think about it because there's so many good airports for business travel in and out. There's other airports that are, that have some neat stuff to do in, and there's other airports that you can't stand. But I think probably one of the easiest airports to get in and out, access to a city, would be San Diego, and I think they do a really great job there. Great food, again, easy access to the city, rental cars, Ubers. So people have different favorite airports for different reasons. So mine may be different than yours, Ben, or yours, Nathan. Ben, you're, as someone who likes to spot airplanes, probably would love JFK, would love San Francisco, would love Seattle to see different liveries and planes and, a lot of stuff to spot. Those would be some really good airports to go there. Some of my least favorite airports, one of my absolute least favorite airports to travel in and out of is Miami International, would be probably one of my least favorite airports.
Is there a reason for that?
I think the airport is in desperate need of uh, not necessarily a rebuild, but some of the terminals there, the food options are not very good in Miami. And when I'm speaking about Miami, I'm specifically talking about the H terminal, where Delta flies, the airline that I go to. I don't feel that it's a very easy in and out airport. The rental cars, you have to take a tram to a central station, which I think is getting a little bit more convenient than it was before. But it's just, yeah, I dread going to Miami International.
I guess you would hate being my dad then.
I guess so. Well, he, travels quite a bit, but he does change it up once in a bit. But like one airport that I think is really, or two airports for that matter, I think are kind of fun is New Orleans. So they just built a new airport that's probably 6 or 7 years old, and I think Austin, Texas. One of the reasons why I like those airports is they really focus on local food vendors within their airport. So there's some really good food options, but they also have a lot of live music, as you can expect. New Orleans is jazz, and so there's a lot of live music within the airport. And Austin has a tremendous amount of music venues within the airport. It's really good. And then just one more positive note about New Orleans Airport is their Uber. When you get an Uber or a Lyft, they're there waiting, and when you ping your car, it says go to number 7, and your driver's right there waiting for you. So it's very efficient there in New Orleans. That's a plus. A negative, I always like to talk about a positive and a negative about an airport. Ben, here in Lincoln is, you may not rent cars given your age, but the old airport had a centralized rental car place. And when I say the old airport and new airport, New Orleans, the old airport was kind of sinking. As you know, New Orleans is a very low-lying area, and some parts of the city of New Orleans are actually under sea level. The airport was having some problems, so they built a new airport just on the opposite side of the field. And unfortunately, the rental car place, centralized rental car area is at the old airport. So you take about a 20 to 25-minute bus over to pick up your rental car. So that definitely makes New Orleans one of my more least favorite airports in that stance of getting if I need a rental car. It can be very troublesome getting over there and taking a good bit of time.
Couldn't you just walk to like downtown?
Walk to downtown New Orleans from the airport, that would probably be take me it's probably 20 miles to like
Oh,
Canal Street in the French Quarter. No, you can't walk. No.
I thought the airport was closer. I'm looking at a map now.
There may be a New Orleans airport that could be closer, but MSY is a good
Yeah,
distance
I see.
from from the city. I can't think of any airport that you could walk to a downtown area to. Some airports are closer, like Louisville, Kentucky is relatively
Yeah, that's
close
like
to
internal.
downtown, but you know you wouldn't want to walk there.
I mean, technically, you could walk to downtown from anywhere.
Sure, I guess it depending on how much time you have. That's a
All
good point.
right. We've talked about domestic, but what's your favorite and least favorite international airports?
So I haven't done much international travel for work. I really haven't done any, but I have flown in and out of several airports across the country. You know, a lot of airports in the Caribbean, Mexico, and Central America I have been to. And to be quite honest, you know, none of those airports in the Caribbean or in Central America or Mexico, uh, you know, would be ranked high on my list. I have been to in Asia. I've been to Tokyo Narita. I have been to Incheon in Seoul, Korea. I have been to Hong Kong, Bangkok, and Singapore. I traveled to some of those as a child, so I don't have many memories. But most recently, I was in Incheon about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, just before COVID. Um, and I thought that airport was great. It was massive, but two, there was a huge focus on the passenger experience while you're there at that airport, whether it be shops or restaurants, and everything was clean and bright. So Incheon would be one of my top airports international. But again, I have a limited scope in the number of airports to speak to. I've been to Amsterdam. I've been to London several times. I have been in and out of Rome, Fiumicino. I've been out of Barcelona. Been out of Paris, Charles de Gaulle several times. So again, limited with my input on airports internationally. But one of my favorite things about traveling to those airports, just like you, is seeing different airlines and the different planes and to see where they're going. As a kid, I got into airplanes. I used to go to the airport if my dad and I were by ourselves, where you know my sisters were doing something with mom. There was a handful of times as a kid we would go to the airport, and that was back before you could clear security without a ticket. And we walk up and down the concourse and look to see where the planes were going and talk about the different cities. So I have fond memories of that.
All right.
But airports are a lot of fun, especially if you're into looking at airplanes. You know, the bigger the airport, the better.
What's the craziest delay, cancellation, or travel problem you've dealt with?
Oh. So I have, just to give you a little context of my travel. So in the last 23 to 25 years, couple years sidelined with COVID, I have flown on Delta. Just for example, I'm approaching 2.9 million miles flown, not miles earned, but actual miles flown. So I've got a lot of stories. I at one time, from a scary kind of delay, I was flying out of Chicago down to Atlanta, and they talked about the airspace between O'Hare and Hartsfield. There was some weather over Indiana, so we were going to have to go, kind of around. as we took off, I believe we're on like an MD-88, and in the front part of first class there was like a vent, I think. This was a long, long time ago. This is probably maybe 15, 17 years ago. The cabin started to fill up with smoke, and the pilot made the decision we need to put the plane down, rather quickly. So we landed in Indianapolis where the weather was, where they wanted us to go around, and it was, a concern. The pilot said that we have complete control of the aircraft. So that was a you know interesting landing. As we went down very quickly and landed safely. So that was good. Another one in terms of things on the plane that caused this really didn't cause the delay. I've just never heard of it before in all my time traveling, or maybe I wasn't paying attention. But one time out of Colorado Springs traveling to Atlanta, we took off and everything seemed okay, but then the land this loud noise came on, and my wife, who is afraid to flying, was looking at me like, what's going on? And I've always said, when it's turbulent, and I said, you don't need to freak out until I start to freak out or look worried. She didn't take too kind of those kind of messages, but at the end of the day, if I was okay, I think she would be okay. There was a very loud dragging noise sound that was going on, and I thought maybe a piece of the metal of the fuselage may have fallen off or something. And what seemed to be some significant time is probably 20 seconds. The captain came on and said they had to drop the landing gear. And they were going to run the landing gear down before they could put it back up. And it turns out later on in the flight, the captain came on and told us why. It was because the brakes were overheating and they needed to cool. And obviously, if they were in the belly of the plane, that could be some significant problem if they're overheating and maybe melt tires or catch fire. I'm not sure what all that would be, but that was interesting. But Ben, over the years in Lincoln, I've had every delay that you could possibly have, with whether it be weather, whether it be maintenance, whether it be diversions, you name it, you experience it. The one thing that I've learned is to accept these things and not stress over them. So if my flight is delayed an hour and I'm sitting in the airport, I just find something to do with that hour. Whereas before, I would stress, I'm going to be late for a meeting, or I want to get home. These things happen. And if you travel enough, you have to be able to, quote unquote, weather the storm, right? Just find something else to do at the airport, get work, get food, or just read a book and relax. But you can't change these things. And what's really frustrating to me is to see people take their frustration out on the airline employees that are just there to work, and they're not mother nature. It's not their fault that the plane is late inbound because of weather or some sort of maintenance thing. I just think a lot of frontline airline workers take the abuse from passengers. It's quote unquote unnecessary.
Lincoln, do you have any questions? I will translate. All right. He has no questions, so do you want to move on to sports?
Sure. I'm a big sports guy like you, Ben, in Lincoln. What do you got? Well, Ben, what are your thoughts on the upcoming NFL season? You excited?
I haven't even looked at anything. I don't know who's on different teams, but
Oh,
starting.
well, don't pay attention to college football. College football, it's like a new roster every year now. I'm all for these college players earning some money, but with the whole NIL and transfer portal, think it's really the Wild West, and I am not a fan of what's happening at the college level for these sports. I think you know it's I'm a Florida Gator fan, Florida Gator alum, and every year it's like I get a whole entire new team I need to study up and focus on. You know, specifically in football. Basketball seems to be holding together a little bit better with the core of our team. Hopefully, we'll win a national title this year. But
No.
yeah, I mean, it's just wild. But I think the NFL season, we're a couple weeks away. Next week, at the time of this taping of this podcast here, we're a week away from our college football. This time next week, Ben, in Lincoln, we'll have games on, meaningful games. So that's exciting. And then for those who like soccer, obviously the English Premier League just started this weekend as well. So that's fun. It's a busy weekend watching sports in my house, and definitely next weekend.
And for some live sports updates, uh, Atlanta sports updates, the Falcons are beating the Colts 31-6.
Well, that's great. I'm excited to hear that we are beating the Colts, albeit preseason. If you look back historically in the last 5 years, the Atlanta Falcons have done nothing during the preseason. Now, I agree that, hey, it doesn't matter. It doesn't count for the season record, or nobody's keeping track of preseason. But I think that getting some wins during the preseason kind of would create a winning feeling, winning energy in the locker room, and a little more camaraderie amongst the guys, and that would translate into the regular season. But I'm bullish on the Falcons this year. I think they will maybe make a serious run to win the NFC South. I think we have some great opportunity for that, and maybe win a playoff game or two. So I think the Falcons will. I think in for those who are in and out of Las Vegas, they have the regular season win total at 7.5. I think the Falcons could be you know, maybe a 9-8 team. So maybe even 10 wins. So we'll see. It is a tough schedule, but if we can get our act together, we have so many weapons on offense. But the weapon that we are concerned about is our quarterback situation, Ben.
Do we even have a quarterback
Well, we have
since
two. I
Penix
just
is
don't know
injured?
which one is going to be. Yeah, well, Penix was out there taking snaps. I'm not sure what he did today, if he took any snaps, but we will see. Time will tell. New coach, new schemes. Who knows? We'll either, I'm positive about the outlook this year, but we'll see.
The Falcons only
We
have
will
one
see.
incomplete pass right now.
Yeah, well, I mean that's great, but I mean, who's throwing the ball? Cooper Rush?
Jack Strand.
Yeah, it's the fourth string quarterback. So we'll see.
Never
We'll
heard of
see.
him.
Yeah, time will tell. Time will tell for sure.
Um, what Atlanta team do you think wins the city's next championship?
God, I think there's only one team that has the infrastructure to do that right now, and that would be the Atlanta Braves. I think we're a few years away from the Hawks making a run. I think they are trending definitely in the positive direction, but I think ultimately the Braves this year, they're doing a lot with a lot of injuries, and things are looking really good. And they seem to be fairly dominant out there. I think getting out of the NL is not going to be easy with the Dodgers, Cubs, and the Brewers, but we will see. It's going to be a great fall baseball in September and October. It'll be exciting here in the city of Atlanta, hopefully all the way to the end.
Yeah. Um, as of right now, the Braves are 5 games behind the Brewers and 3 behind the Dodgers, and the Braves are
Hmm.
playing the Brewers right now.
Yep. Yeah. It was
And
the
then,
Braves drop. I believe they dropped the game last night, correct? Didn't they lose
uh,
2-1?
yeah, and then they play the Dodgers for 3, and then they play the Phillies for 4.
Yeah. So, I mean, that right there is a very tough stretch. But it's good to have that stretch now as opposed to the last, 2, 3 weeks of the season. But it'll be fun. I think you had an opportunity to go to a Braves playoff game where I believe the Braves won, and it was a clinching, taking out the Dodgers. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Good game you got to go to.
Sunday's Braves game is at home, but Saturday's away.
Is it a makeup game? Who are we playing on Sunday?
Brewers. Tomorrow.
It's super odd. Are you sure it's
it's in
not
It's in
Milwaukee?
Williamsport.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. Yeah, I like those games. Did you catch the Cornfields game?
No, I didn't.
Field of Dreams game the other, it's I like how they do that game and they play it in Williamsport. Yeah, I think those are fun. I'm a huge fan of the outdoor hockey that they have, once in a while. They play them in a baseball or football stadium. I think those are great.
Yeah.
And
The
I'm a fan of the
Tuesday.
international series in the NBA. Or I'm sorry, in the NFL too. I think it's great to take the sport internationally. Gives the fans an opportunity to go visit. I plan on going to the Falcons one time when uh, when my schedule's a little easier to get away for a little vacation and tie in some football.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say you were going to go to Melbourne for whatever.
For the Rams,
Yeah.
Rams 49ers this year? No, no. I'd like to. I'd like to. I think, I've attended some professional sports in Europe over the years, mainly soccer or all soccer. Um, in 2019, I was in Paris and I went to a Paris Saint Germain versus Napoli in the Champions League, and that was just an absolute blast. I've been fortunate to go to some fairly large and meaningful championships here in the states. As a Florida Gator, I went to two national title football games, one in Arizona where we beat Ohio State, and one in Miami where we beat Oklahoma in football. And then I've gone to the Final Four in Atlanta when to see the Gators there, and we won the title. And then I also have been fortunate to go to some Super Bowls thanks to my sister being her plus one. But that Paris Saint Germain game against Napoli, the Champions League, was probably the most electric game I've been to up until this past summer, where I went to a World Cup match and here in Atlanta, and that was absolutely fantastic. Just the fans. I went to the Uzbekistan versus the DR Congo match, and you had roughly 20% of the fans in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium or the Atlanta Stadium, thanks to FIFA with the renaming. 20% Uzbek fans, 20% Congo fans, another 10% of local fans that chose a side. But with Uzbeks, there were a lot of people from, you know, Eastern Europe, there were Ukrainians, there were, I mean, you name it, they were all supporting the Uzbeks. And then in Congo, there was some folks from Kenya that were sitting in front of me that were, obviously supporting their African, neighbors. I mean, it was just crazy. And then you had about 60% of just regular soccer fans like me in there. And it was the loudest that I've ever experienced in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, louder than any Falcons game, and constant noise and cheering. And it was amazing. I mean, I love going to big sporting events that that bring the energy. And the World Cup in Atlanta sure did. I kind of forgot the original question there, Ben, but you get carried away. I get sidetracked. That's the name of the pod here, right? I got sidetracked and just talked about sports, but man, I mean, going to big games, whether it be the game that you went to where the Braves, you know, beat the Dodgers and took the Dodgers out of the NL playoffs, or me going to the World Cup match. I mean, those things are awesome, and there'll be memories for life. So that's some good stuff right there.
I believe the question was, what Atlanta team wins the championship next?
Oh, well, I talked about that before. I said it was the Braves. I
Yeah,
think the
and I
Braves will
don't,
be the
I don't,
first
I don't
first
think I
ones.
asked another question.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm
Yeah.
just got sidetracked, Ben. In Lincoln. It happens to the best of us. Everybody gets sidetracked from time to time.
Um, what is the World Cup the best atmosphere you've been part of?
I would say yes. I think the city, I've only went to the games or went to a game in Atlanta and went downtown several times. But just watching, for example, like the Scots that came over from Scotland and took over Boston and all the activities that they did and watching them and when they went to Miami, they were great. I mean, I think every fan base brought something to the table. And, watching on social media of just the random people, so surprised. There was a Japanese fan that went to a Mexican restaurant. I forget what city they were in, but, when the server came over and dropped them chips and salsa, they responded like, what is this? We did not order it. So they learned a little bit about our culture here. Obviously, the Mexican restaurant culture of the chips and salsa and bread being delivered to the table. People were really taken back by how great the United States of America is. And um, there was a group of Germans. The guy went extremely viral on Twitter or X. His name was Freddie, about his experiences in Waffle House and going to Jordan Air Stadium in in Auburn for one of the World Cup pre-matches in a college city, and just was. I mean, their stories. It was so great to hear. I met a lot of folks from
He's coming
England
back.
because I. Yep. Yeah, he's coming back. I heard. Yeah, he's going to do some college football, Freddie. But just meeting people from all over the world coming together for the beautiful game of soccer or football. I mean, it was awesome. I don't think really missed. Hopefully, my manager is not going to be listening to this, but I mean, I was watching almost every game. I loved it, and I think it hopefully sparked a little more interest in young kids here in the United States to play soccer, because I think it's just a fantastic game with a tremendous amount of benefits. In playing that game, specifically health benefits. Running around and pushing yourself and cardio, and I mean, you name it, and just being part of a team is always great too.
All right. We have like 7 minutes until it cuts us off.
All right,
So I have like 3 questions, 3 or 4.
sure, yeah, let's go, Ben. Whatever you got, or if Lincoln's got one, bring it on.
Lincoln, do you have any sports questions? All right. Uh, Actually, I'll ask as much as I can. Uh,
Do you think Lincoln got sidetracked? Lincoln doesn't have any questions. Do you think he got sidetracked himself?
he told me he wasn't.
Maybe,
He told me
maybe,
he wasn't gonna ask
maybe,
questions.
maybe playing a little Xbox over there.
He's coding.
Oh, he's coding. Okay, all
Actually,
right. He's a
I can.
multitasker. That's for sure. That's great.
Yeah, he's coding. What sport do you think is the most entertaining to watch right now?
Well, when it comes to entertaining, obviously there's people who like a pitching duel. There's people who like offense. But I think probably one of the most uh, games with the most entertainment and excitement, outside of football, which is, my favorite sport. Over the years, I've really kind of gotten into hockey. And I think hockey is just nonstop action, goes back and forth. Things can turn on a dime. Also, like the aggression that you can have. You could break into a fight and everything's fine. I think so. I think hockey for right now is not the most popular sport in the country, but it's certainly one of the more exciting, especially during the playoffs. Playoff hockey is its own season, as they call it, and it's a lot of fun to watch hockey in that environment.
Yeah. What sport team has the best fan base?
Which sports team or what sport has the best fan
Sports
base?
team.
I mean, I would not say the Atlanta Falcons have the best sport or the Braves. I mean, like nationally, I think, you know, it's hard to tell if more college teams have better fan bases. You start to think of the very large football programs and basketball programs with the alumni base. But I mean, there are, the New England Patriots, the Dallas Cowboys, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, I've traveled to both of those cities. I mean, you go to Pittsburgh in May and you go to the grocery store, you go to a mall, you'll see, not a handful, more than a handful of people just wearing their Steelers gear. And I think Pittsburgh, of all the cities, has really done something cool with all their professional teams. I think they're the only team that has, or the only city that has all three of their professional teams same colors, black and orange or black and yellow. And I think
Yeah.
that color, whether it be the Pirates, the Pens, or the Steelers, really brings that community, that state, and that fan base together. I think that's really cool how they all have the same color. I can't think of any other city that has their professional sports teams with the same color. But I mean, those fans are all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say who's got the best fans because guess what? If you ask 100 people, you get 100 different answers because they're always going to talk about their team or something like that. But I think the Cowboys, the Steelers, like they have a massive fan base. The San Francisco 49ers. I mean, you go down the list, massive fan bases.
What's your most controversial sports hot take?
A hot take for the season. I think the Falcons could win the division,
It's
which
not a
would
hot
be
take if I
a
agree.
big win. I know. All right. All right. Well, if y'all tell you the team that I think that's going to regress. And if they don't win the Super Bowl, some people would say, well, that's regressing. Because Seattle, I think Seattle, had a lot of luck go their way throughout the season last year and got to the Super Bowl. They were definitely worthy of winning the Super Bowl, because luck does play in. But I think it's going to be, I mean, not a horrible season for for the Seahawks, but I could see an 8-9 season coming for them. So I think they will underperform this year. And then I also think the Miami Dolphins could probably go 0-17, which would be very hard, but they could.
I think the Browns could too. Again.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Browns, will it be Deshaun Watson? Will it be Shador Sanders? We'll know in a couple of weeks, Ben, but it could be interesting. But I think those are my things. Falcons win the division. Obviously, may not be that hot of a take, but I also think that the Miami Dolphins could be 0-17 to match the perfect record, or be the reverse of the perfect season that the Dolphins have had well long before you were born, Ben. But I think Seattle will possibly struggle this year.
All right. And for
And I
fantasy
think I think the
purposes.
Indiana Hoosiers will not make the playoffs.
And for fantasy purposes,
Indiana Hoosiers.
do you
Yeah.
think we should do our fantasy draft on a podcast?
No, I don't. I think we should do it like we did last year over dinner.
Cool. All I needed.
Got it.
Well, thanks for
I'm
joining.
looking forward to it. Thanks. I'm looking forward to see how you cut up this podcast and when it drops. I'm excited for it. And thanks for
It's been
having me. It means a
live.
lot. Yeah.
It's been live. So
Okay. All
I don't
right.
need
Well,
to cut it up.
all right. Well, thanks for having me. Keep up the good work. Huge fan of Sidetracked. And keep doing what you're doing. Thanks, Lincoln. I appreciate the opportunity to get on with you and Ben.
All right.
You guys have a good day.
He said no problem.
All right. Good deal. All
See
right.
ya.
Hopefully next time, Lincoln, we'll hear you live.
Yeah.
So, all right.
See ya.
Take care, guys. See you. Bye.
All right, Lincoln. Do you want to do trivia? Actually, let's get Mom on here.
Why?
Do you want to do a trivia segment? I'll send you a Zoom meeting link if you do.
We should have a game segment.
Like what? Next week we have someone else doing it. The person I had to do it hasn't shown up yet. It hasn't been that long yet. All right. I think that will wrap it up for. Let's get our closing.
We should do a game segment.
Game.
Hello?
Yes. All right. I think that's going to do it for Sidetracked episode 2. Actually, I need to send this to you. All right. I think that's going to do it for episode 2.
Somehow we made it to the end.
And somehow we actually covered most of what was on the rundown. Huge thank you to everyone who joined us today. Noah Miller for Chaser Convergence, Cruise Haynes for talking severe weather and content creation, and Eric Goldmann for joining us and for everything business, travel, and aviation to sports. And of course, thank you to everyone that watched live, joined in the chat, or is watching the replay.
Did we get sidetracked?
Several times. So I'd call it a successful episode. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next episode. For Lincoln, our guest, and everyone behind the scenes, I'm Ben. And thanks.
Thank you
so
for watching
much, everyone.
Sidetracked.
We'll see you next time. Holy voice crack.